Last time on Ghost of Tsushima.
Long ago, fire fell from the sky and landed atop Mount Jogaku. A lone warrior braved the dangerous climb and found a giant rock covered in flames. He touched his sword to the fire. Flames engulfed the steel, but left him unharmed. He created a new fighting style he called the Way of the Flame. The warrior took pieces of the rock west with him to China. There he sought answers about its origin from learned monks and scholars. After months of travel and research, fire fell from the sky once more. He led the people to it and showed them it was nothing to fear. For he believed the Way of the Flame was a gift from the heavens, and he shared its secrets with all who wished to learn. Handed down through generations, the Way of the Flame has returned to Tsushima. The Mongols wield it against our people. But rumor says the fire still burns atop Mount Jogaku, waiting for any who can survive the climb.
Hola amigos, Ghost here, and today we continue the story of the ghost. We have traveled to the peak of Mount Jogaku and learned the Way of the Flame, a powerful technique that will aid us well in our war against the Mongols. After this, we visited the last of the Shinto and Inari Shrines of Tsushima, as well as visited several pillars of honor and wrote a haiku. Now we travel across Kamiagata in search of its secrets. Let's do this! The first thing that we're going to do for today's chapter is complete the final set of bamboo strikes. The first one we will do is Sago Bamboo Strike. Next up, the Kin Bamboo Strike. Kin Lighthouse. And which bamboo is this? Endless Forest Bamboo Strike. Interessante. That is an interesting name for it. Maximum resolve increased. Oh, Sacred Mountain Messenger. True warrior and servant of the mountain kami. Oh, that's cool. I like that. I know exactly what armor this could fit in. I believe it's the one armor set you get from Iki Island that this mask definitely fits with. Not sure what other armor set it would fit with, but it is a nice little thing. It's funny. I like it. Alright, since we're over here, we might as well also climb this lighthouse. Oh, a Sashimono banner. Bam. Wonder if there's anything else in this tower. Some supplies. And it looks like that's it. Okay. Alright. Alrighty then. Time to find some more bamboo strikes. Actually, we have found every bamboo strike that's on Tsushima. There are 4 that are on Iki Island, but since we're not in Iki Island, we can't do those. And since that is a DLC storyline, we'll be doing that later on. But for now, we have every bamboo strike in Tsushima. The next thing that we will be doing is completing the final set of hot springs in Tsushima. The first one we will do is Morime Hot Spring. Reflect on exile from the samurai, Taka's sacrifice. These are both. Let's do this one.
The samurai. My uncle. I can never go back. I have to accept it.
And there we go. On to the next. Jito's Foothills Hot Spring. Reflect on Genji Sake, Rizo's death. I know which one to do.
You could have been here right now, Ryuzo. Bragging about how many Mongol heads you collected. Telling your awful jokes. You gave me no choice.
He did give us no choice. Oh. Fundoshi. A true samurai needs no clothes. Jin Sakai. After too much sake. Ah yes, I remember this attire. Just imagine you're a Mongol and you see this dude just in a bath towel charge you. That's funny. Running and sprinting no longer create noise. Honestly, it technically could be a decent stealth armor. Well, not armor, but you know what I mean, like what you have, because you can just run quickly, kill guys, run to another area, and they'll never hear you coming. It is kind of funny how this is an armor that you get for collecting most, if not all, of the hot springs. It is great. Jesus. All of the hot springs on Tsushima have been found. That means if we take a look at collections, there are 2 remaining hot springs, and those ones are on Iki Island. So we will get to those once we get to Iki Island storyline. But for now, all hot springs on Tsushima have been completed. Now we follow the wind of Vanity to uncover all of the remaining Vanity gear that we can in Tsushima. Ivory of Woe. An indomitable lord emerges from Tsushima's clans. It's cool. Not the greatest mask in my opinion, but it's definitely a type of mask I would see a samurai or some uh, shinobi wear. I don't know, something about the actual like facial expression is funny to me. It's nice. It's nice.
hope you
Sorry.
find peace.
Yeah, like he said, I hope you find peace. Sorry we couldn't save you before the Mongols got to you. Jesus, look at them. They're all... I love the environmental storytelling, I must say, because you could definitely tell they tried to hide in this room, and the Mongols just ripped through and slew them this way. That is good environmental storytelling, in my opinion. Rest in peace. I will make sure the Mongols pay for your deaths. A pillar of honor. Azura Dragon. Signature of the wise warrior who fights for peace and plenty. This is a nice set of... I love the colors. The dark blue with the mix of, I'm not sure what kind of blue that is. It's a light blue, I know that for sure. But they're a nice combination with the mix of golds and a little bit of browns. I like the gold part. The browns, eh. But it definitely is a nice set collection, sword kit. A very nice sword kit. Another pillar of honor. Sly Tanuki. For the samurai who knows neither friend nor foe, only destruction. I like this one. Now I'm not 100% if this is the sword kit, but this one I think is supposed to be a reference to Sly Cooper from his gaming series back in the day. It could be a different one. I assume it's this one because it has the same fur color as Sly does, but it is a nice sword kit nonetheless. The colors are just perfect. The mix of blues, reds, blacks, and goldish yellow silver. Goldish metal is nice, and the fur is a good touch. A very nice sword kit. I do think it is the one that's referencing Sly Cooper, but I could be wrong. If anyone, I'll probably look it up after I'm done uh, with this chapter. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it is because I know they reference a bunch of other Sony games in the Iki Island expansion, but I'm pretty sure Sly Cooper's game was referenced in this specific one. So yeah. Skeletal Vengeance. A grim reminder that death lurks everywhere. Ooh, this is a nice one. Honestly, I think it could fit the ghost armor or one of the more darker armors as a contrast to the rest of the armor. If it was a little bit brighter or a little bit darker, it definitely is supposed. It definitely an enemy probably would see that and be disturbed a little bit. It is definitely a cool mask. And also, I'm sorry for your loss. Your losses, that is, I mean. I will avenge them. Crooked Kame Headband. Reap your enemies like rice at harvest time. This is definitely also a Sly Cooper reference. That is not unmistakably his cane that he has. And it even has the same kind of color scheme. Yep, even the back looks like his tail. Yep, this has to also be a Sly Cooper reference. It has to be. Definitely. It's a nice headband. I'm not sure which armor would fit because of its color scheme. Granted, most of the armors have different color schemes that you can buy and such. But I'll definitely have to check that out in my own time. It's a nice headband, nonetheless. And I gotta say, look at this view from up here. Obviously, some parts of it is covered in forest or bamboo forest, but the frozen lake, you could see the entirety of it. It is nice. Tienga, or Tengi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one actually. True mastery begins where individual ego ends, and it's the helmets. I think I want to say Zanny, the YouTuber Zanny, wore this specific helmet, and during one of his videos of Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not sure. I know he used one of the straw hat looking basket things. I'm not sure if it's this one. I think it was this one, but I think I could be wrong. It's funny. It definitely fits the straw hat Ronin type armors. Those Ronin type armors you have. It definitely fits one of those. It is definitely kind of goofy when you have on like the ghost armor or like one of the major actual samurai armor. It's still nice nonetheless. And respect to the fallen, whoever you may be. I gotta say, it's very clever to hide things up on top of these buildings, these temples. It's a very clever thing because people won't really think about looking up here until you realize each of these corners you're able to climb up. And let's see. Sago Blue Headband. Handcrafted in the northern town of Sago, famed for its dyes. It's a ooh, that's a nice headband. It's a mix of blues and a white. I thought there was black for a second, but it's just his hair. It definitely fits certain armors, not the ghost armor, but it's a nice headband. I know I say that a lot. I mean, all the headbands are pretty much nice. I don't think there's any of them I actually dislike. Same with most of the other armor and equipment you get. Everything is just detailed just nicely. And you can see a little bit of a decent view here of the Cedar Temple. It's a big. I think it's the biggest temple in the game. I think. I think one of the other temples might be around the same size, but in terms of just scale of like this temple, that temple, those buildings there, this might be the biggest in terms of scale, but I think there are other temples that are just probably as big. But yeah. Sago Haiku? Alrighty then. Reflect on hope. Safety surrendered. Frozen Guardian. Endured together. Let's go with that one. Chop wood and carry water. Embrace the welcoming light. A heart refusing to fail. Ooh, these two right here are very good. I'll do this one. I'll do that one. Continue fighting. Stand tall and resist. Overcome the odds. God, all three of these are good. Actually, I would say these stand tall and resist. And I'm gonna say overcome the odds, actually.
Endure together. A heart refusing to fail. Overcome the odds.
Headband of hope. Endure together. A heart refusing to fail. Overcome the odds. This is a nice headband. I like the design already. I forgot what this shape is. Technically, it's a square flipped. I think it's technically a diamond. But I like the design. The two different types of blues It's a nice headband. Not sure which armor it would fit, but either way, I'll definitely try to take a look at that on my own time to see. But it's a good headband. And there we go. On my travels to the next Vanity Gear, I found this little graveyard and a singing crickets. One step closer to collecting all of the singing crickets. See, really use glare. That's my best pronunciation at the moment. For a warrior with a heart of a dragon. Nice. It definitely could fit certain some of the other headbands. I wonder which armor it could fit with its color scheme, but it's a nice striking mask. It's similar to the ghost mask and the Sakai mask and those types. It's nice. It's definitely very striking. I'm not sure what armor though it could fit, but I'll figure that out. Like I said, with many of the others. Collect them supplies, and let's get back to the horse. Well, look at this. A Sashimono banner. Nice. Jogaku Haiku. And a Sashimono banner. Reflect on strength. Slowly overwhelmed. Falling forever. The final defense. I'm gonna do that one. Death's call is sharp and biting. A heart races at each sound. The mind recalls the teachings. I'll do that one. Let's see. Looking to the end. Fight through the darkness. I yearn for guidance. I would say this one, the middle one.
The final defense. The mind recalls the teachings. Fight through the darkness.
Headband of strength. The final defense. The mind recalls the teachings. Fight through the darkness. Ooh. I'm a sucker for for orange and black. That is nice. I think there's one armor that can fit this. Or actually, I think it could be used on any of the black armor if it's all black armor. Like the Sakai armor, I definitely think it could fit that one. Because it'll be like a contrasting with almost the full black. It'll be the only bit of real color. It's not besides like the handles of the swords and such, but it's a nice headband nonetheless. A nice one. A pillar of honor. Hidden forest. Bamboo stirs at the passage of a true warrior. It's good, but I don't know how I feel about it personally. Like, I don't know if this is a sword kit that I would use. Granted, I would use many of these sword kits. I'm just I'm trying to stay sort of like canon-wise of the armor that the Jin would use at this point, which would be the ghost armor, and the sword being his sword and all that. But this is probably not one of the ones I would use compared to some of the others. Like, I would definitely I would use this one or etc. But it's not bad by any means. I like the sheath. I think it's the type of brown on the handle that conflicts with the design. But either way, it's still decent. It's still decent. It's still a decent sword kit. And with that last piece of vanity gear, we have collected all of the vanity gear on Tsushima. Of course, there is vanity gear on Iki Island, but that will happen once we head to Iki Island later down the road. But for now, we have all the vanity gear that we can get. Next up on our list is to uncover the remaining undiscovered Sashimono banners.
Open!
Someone help!
You'll be free soon. Follow me.
Kami heard my cries and sent you to save me. Thank you, my lord.
And with that, all Sashimono banners have been collected.
Thank you for the banners. I must confess, the emblem of Clan Kikuchi is a strange one to me.
It symbolizes the mighty Winter Lords. They say Kikuchi's warriors took comfort from the cold and dark of Kamiagata. They also say living there made them harsh and stubborn. At clan gatherings, they usually kept to themselves. When they didn't, there was often a quarrel that ended in a duel. But when the call went out to gather at Komoda, Lord Kikuchi and his men didn't hesitate to join us.
I admire your honesty, my lord. It's important to remember that even samurai are flesh and blood.
Indeed. Pampas Gale, a saddle to rush through the woods and fields of Tsushima. Unfortunately, we can't look at what the saddle looks like, as we do not have a new horse.
I'm glad to have more banners.
As we do not have the new horse. We do get a second main horse that we name and everything. I believe that is after the next main mission. But since we don't have that one, we can't look at these saddles. So once we get that new horse, when we have a moment of spare time, I'll show off all of the saddles at once. But anyway, let's speak with him once more.
The banners you've brought are a fitting tribute to all the heroes of Komoda.
Make sure our people remember the fallen.
I'll do more. I'll teach others to honor the samurai by resisting the Mongols to the very end. Please, take this final token to commemorate all you've given to Tsushima and me.
Elegant Fury, a saddle that commands dignity and respect. Thank you, monk, thank you. May Buddha watch over you. Honestly, my favorite part about collecting those Sashimono banners is the dialogue that Jin and the monk have about the clans of Tsushima. Even though these clans are fictional, it still gives a little bit of history to them that we don't get to see. because, well, all the samurai are basically dead at this point. So, it's nice. I like those little stories about the clans. It's pretty nice. Next up, let us discover the last of the undiscovered singing crickets. Here's the singing cricket. And only one more to go. And there's the final singing crickets. We've collected them all. And if we take a look, we now have all access to all 4 of the songs that you can play. The newest one, A Chorus of Raindrops, a song that can change the weather. Nice. Now let us find the remaining undiscovered records. Conversations with the Khan 9. I cannot imagine the burden a leader like Khotan Khan must bear. In an act of utter barbarity, the ghost poisoned the Khan's men at Castle Shimura. Far from deterring the Khan, the act spurred him to develop these poisons for his own use. He tells me this is one of the secrets of the Empire's success, embracing rather than rejecting or dominating the might and knowledge of their antagonists. Then, yesterday, I saw what he had done to the people of Ken. I don't know that I'll ever recover from that sight. I don't know what I think of Khotan. Perhaps great men share all the aspects of their lessers, but more. Great wisdom, but even greater cruelty. I love these records about the conversations with the Khan. You can see whoever wrote this slowly realizing who Khotan Khan is and reacting to everything that's happening in the main story. It's very interesting. Granted, this guy is a traitor and he deserves uh, death for betraying the people of Tsushima. But it's interesting to see, like, at first he's like all in love with Khotan Khan. He's all this and oh, he's the greatest. But now he really starts to see, like, oh wait, he may have great wisdom, but he's also kind of an ass. He also is very cruel and such. I love these. I like I said, I really love these specific records of conversations with the Khan. It's just so fascinating to me. There is also a Mongol artifact right here next to that record, so let's take a look. Ungon. In traditional Mongol mythologies, it is believed that after death, all shamans become wandering spirits, or Ongon. It is customary to construct consecrated idols within 3 years of a shaman's death, and either place them in the home Ongon, or in outdoor shelters, field Ongon. Fascinating. This is very fascinating in my opinion. I wonder if this is actually. I know a lot of the other things are based on real stuff. I wonder if this is too. It would be interesting because I like learning about all this kind of stuff. Because many of the things I looked up after the fact on like sites and books I have, and it's very fascinating to learn that and have see the game show these things. But yeah, very interesting indeed. Conversations with the Khan 10. Soon the Mongol fleet will sail for the mainland. Khotan knows of the Oga clan samurai sent to bolster Lord Shimura, but he's confident they have neither the strength nor the numbers to alter his plans. For him, Tsushima is simply a place to resupply and prepare the invasion of the mainland. Accordingly, his attention turns more and more to mainland Japan. I did not have to explain to him the divisions between the emperor's court at Kyoto and the seat of the shogunate, nor the power of those who rule without official titles. In fact, he drew a comparison to his own people, where East and West have split as a consequence of Kublai coming to power in China, opposed by his own brother. Very fascinating. I love this stuff. Like I said previously, very fascinating stuff right here. Cry for help. With my last carrier pigeon, I pray this note finds pitying eyes and ears. Please send help to kin. At first, we thought it was a terrible plague, but the invaders were unharmed. I don't remember who first figured it out. Poison. The invaders have poisoned us. Mounds of the dead blacken in the sun. I doubt I will see another week of life, but I can hear a baby crying. I don't dare go out. Please, someone help us. That is a very dark letter or record. And though not all the Mongols that were here were punished immediately, they are all dead now, and those that remain around Kamiagata and Izumi will suffer for killing all the people here in Kin. Your cries will not go unanswered. Farewell. At first I thought I was dreaming. I've often found myself walking in the morning far from my bed without any idea how I got there. So when I woke up to see the sacred Yorishiro tree in flames, I thought it was a nightmare. But it's real. The entire forest is burning. There is nowhere to run. This too will burn in the fire. And so I write my final wish. I loved you all my life, Tirute, but I could never work up the courage to tell you. Perhaps the wind will carry these ashes to you, and you will hear my final wish whispered to you in the tall grass. Your death will be avenged if it has not already been avenged by those who set fire to the forest. And I hope the one that you love is still alive. The Dye House. Sister, the head man has requested I come to the Dye House. Instead, I will come to you. There is a silence there I find dangerous. It used to be a place of joy, people surrounded in brilliant blue, but now only wooden boxes come and go. Once I thought I heard the crate scream. I'll get to you as quick as I can. And we know what happened. The head man was a crazy bastard and traitor. Sold the woman to the Mongols and killed the men who refused. We freed those women and killed the head man. So whoever wrote this is now free and safe, hopefully, unless there were one that may have been killed. But hopefully they're alive. Lady Hana. Lady Hana hasn't left the main house in weeks. Mysterious visitors come and go. Some stay for hours, others for days, never together. I recognized one as a monk, another looked to be no more than a peasant girl. Lady Hana is consumed with them. She does not let me inside other than to bring tea and rice. But when I do, I almost always hear the whisper of her sister's name. And of course, Lady Hana is the sister of Lady Masako, and the leader of the traitors that killed her clan and family. She has been dealt with, as well as those who followed her. Watch her. I am leaving for Komoda. Keep an eye on Lady Hana while I am gone. The miserable woman does nothing but brood and stew in dark corners of the house. She is almost completely useless, except as a place of warmth. But for that, I have to be drunk. Which reminds me, stock more sake for my return. I will be back in a matter of days. Komoda should not take long. And this must be the husband of Lady Hana, who died at Komoda with so many other samurai. It seems like he knew something was up with Lady Hana, but just didn't couldn't figure out what it was specifically. Interesting. Very interesting. We now have all of the records that we were able to collect throughout Tsushima. There is only one more remaining, and we must defeat Khotan Khan to access this final record. But for now, we have all the other records. With the remaining time we have left for today's chapter, let us find some of the remaining undiscovered artifacts. Prisoner Coffin. The Mongol Empire weaponizes fear and terror to great effect in order to intimidate and demoralize their foes. Punishments can be exceptionally brutal and cruel. One example of this is the practice of immurement, in which a captive is placed in a confined enclosed space for an extended time period, in many cases deprived of food and water, usually until death. A very brutal way of, yeah, I would be very much intimidated to see a bunch of these boxes outside my city walls. Granted, if I remember correctly, the Mongols at one point even catapulted Black Death victims or people that were carrying the Black Death and were dying threw them inside of cities. If I remember correctly, I think they threw rats. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was rats or actual people that they threw in there to infect the city. But the Mongols definitely did know how to weaponize fear and terror very much so. They were probably one of the best at doing it during their time period. Siege weapons. Used primarily in assaults on fortified cities, the advanced siege weaponry employed by the Mongols shows how central engineering and technology is to their war efforts. The Mongols draw on knowledge gained from captives and subjects across the Asian continent, including Arab, Persian, and Chinese experts, to construct their vast arsenal. Siege weapons were siege weapons have been used throughout history, and it's very interesting that uh, even though as time went on, especially during between like antiquity to the medieval times or the Middle Ages, more like it, that the types of siege weapons kind of stayed the same, but in sense in larger scales are more made of stronger materials and such. Because this like battering ram has existed for centuries upon centuries, just in different forms, in different ways. And it's just so fascinating to see the Mongol interpretation of such things, even though I'm pretty sure there are artifacts of their siege weaponry, or at least depictions of them in art. But it's cool to see like a video game's interpretation of their weaponry. Gunpowder. Derived from Chinese firearms and gunpowder weapons, Mongol cannons and bombs are a core component of their arsenal. And an illustration of gunpowder warfare in action, the Mongol invasion of Japan showcases many well-documented examples of explosive bombs. Interessante. Gunpowder at this point was just starting to become more spread out. The Mongols were not the first. Obviously, the Chinese used it for fireworks and some weaponry. Then the Mongols started using it, and then over time, I think parts of the Middle East and eventually the Middle Ages of Europe started using it, and gunpowder just started to kick off. I think like at least 2.5 centuries later from when the first Mongol invasion of Japan happened. So it's very fascinating that with this we're seeing some of the first applications of gunpowder technology being used in warfare. Granted, there is probably other cases that we haven't found documentation of or mention of in documents. Well, that's the same thing, but you know what I mean. It's very fascinating that we get to see some of the very first weapons used using gunpowder in this game. Mostly the hand cannon type things the Mongols use, and the few cannons we see. It's very fascinating stuff. Milk pot. Being nomadic and pastoral, the Mongols' primary food groups are milk products and a variety of meats, centering around the livestock herds they travel with. Even so, the Mongols rarely drink fresh milk, instead relying on fermentation to produce alcoholic drinks, processed curds, yogurts, and argrag. Soldier supplies. Nomadic Mongol tribes only travel with what is immediately needed, a practice aided by their ability to live largely off the land. Beyond the weapons necessary for conquest, Mongol soldiers often travel packed with sundries like fish hooks and other tools useful for maintaining a varied and flexible diet. I this is one of the things I like about Ghost of Tsushima, that with these artifacts they don't just talk about like the major things like certain weapons or armor. They talk about like this stuff, soldiers, the supplies soldiers often use, things that they would carry, what they what they ate, what they believed in. It's so fascinating that we get to learn so much about not just the Japanese on Tsushima, but also of the Mongols. It is very fascinating to just have these type of artifacts in this game and teach the play, even though they're optional. Those who actually look them out and read them, and then maybe look up on online or find a book, it it allows for further knowledge to be learned about these cultures and peoples, not just through their warfare, but through what they did, what they ate, and how they did such things. That, I love this stuff. And with that, we conclude today's chapter of the Ghost Story. I hope you all enjoyed today's chapter. I certainly did. Until next time, this is Ghost, signing out.